Hello, dear friends. The pessimistic contacted Goode has to be taken with a grain of salt, because he has a lot of information just like Cobra, but we cannot verify his authenticity. So I summarized his report as a guideline and curiosity, to contrast it with what other supposed contactees say, who do not always match their information. Don't believe anything, but accept it as a possibility. Opinion piece. Liberation of humankind. Goode reveals dates. Battle for the solar system. End times madness. People are not in their right minds. Life's infinite benevolence. Struggle on Earth's surface. Don't feed the dying beast. Don't be frightened by anything that happens. We join a galactic family, workers of light hidden in darkness, are waiting to become incandescent. Saudi Arabia doubled its oil to the European Union. The oil crisis changes our economy. AMLO sees possible negotiations between Russia, China, and the US. World Bank believes Russian oil cap won't work. Elon Musk fires Twitter executives who censored Trump. Euro falls sharply. ECB to keep printing money until 2024. Let's start. A report on the next timeline of the liberation of our solar system has been revealed by famous contactee Goode. He reveals that our allies are currently cleaning up the damage caused by the Orion Group and their minions, including the Dark Fleet, but the armada led by the Global League of Galactic Nations would need until the year 2025 to liberate the solar system, in his opinion. Meanwhile, throughout this timeline, the surface population increasingly faces end times madness behavior due to increased solar activity that also creates earthquakes and storms that seem to become more frequent and powerful. We see humankind increasingly dealing with totalitarian governments using potential wars to strip them of their rights, as a transhumanist agenda is imposed on a population that is not in its right mind. Slavery is the natural state of humankind until liberation is realized, said Javier de Maistre. In the opinion of Poet Dog, fights and sporting events are now commonplace. The mad violence on the pavements is orchestrated. Dark forces are loose in the humankind's mind on a carnal level. They have been expelled from the invisible into the manifest. They will be dealt with the same force that brought them out of hidden. There are lightworkers hidden in labyrinths of darkness. They await the call to become incandescent. A massive change is pressing upon the surface of the hive mind. Change is working its way through the weakest links and through breaks in the fence and the wall that surrounds everything in your head. Solar micronova. According to Goode, the battle on Earth's surface and the positive timeline is still ours to win or lose. It is a battle that will be fought until the solar micronova occurs in 2033-34. The micronova is not an extinction level event as some report, although significant disruptions and natural disasters will occur. The strange Mandela effect increases as we get closer to the solar event, creating more confusion in an already chaotic environment. From the years 2028 to 2033, the surface population is slowly introduced to the concept of the Galactic Federation of Worlds. Eventually, around 2032, this group reveals itself to the population, while defending Earth against holographically generated enemies, in his opinion. When the micronova occurs, the timeline of humankind's choice would be blocked, although all transhumanist technologies would be destroyed in the solar event. The mass consciousness intention would have chosen a positive or not so positive timeline as we move into the next solar cycle. If humankind were to choose a negative timeline once again, it would be the last one possible, due to the energetic changes of our Sun and this region of the galaxy. At West, we are looking at one more cycle lasting tens of thousands of years, and at best, we would be on the verge of choosing the path to spiritual, rather than technological, evolution that would take our civilization into a golden age with a unified mass consciousness. The war to liberate Mars would occur in the late 2025 around Jupiter, Saturn and Neptune, with a battle between 2025 and 2032, when the Allies would eliminate all ships and breach all bases that have been inhabited by the Orion Group and their allies for tens of thousands of years. The forces would invade the Moon to eliminate all negative bases in 2027. In 2028, after the battle to liberate the Moon, they would have the information they need to invade spaceport in Antarctica, and then work their way into the Earth's crust from the network of tunnels leading to dozens of deep underground bases of the Orion Group. This battle would then lead to the vast realms of the inner Earth and last until 2032. Optimistic messages. Goode has never been very optimistic, but other messages take him to task. Saint Germain's message. Just wait a little longer, by Nagari. Don't lose faith. Everything is moving positively and in the right direction. Our goals are clear, and we are almost there. Do not be frightened by anything the enemy says or does. They know that the war is lost for them, and they are making their last effort to try to convince the world that everything is business as usual, and that they are in control. But they are no longer fooling alone. People are awakening now at a dizing pace, thanks to the powerful energies entering the planet. Just wait a little longer. Everything is ready for the great celebratory banquet. All that remains to be done is to make the perfect setting to celebrate the great victory of the light. I assure you it will be tremendous. The time is near according to blue angles. The time is very near. You are becoming living diamonds. Your world is no longer what it was, and will be unrecognizable when all is complete. The time of games is over for this realm. You will feel the energy growing as our focus continues. We send an energy first so that you may resist it. The energies of higher frequencies will not cease to flood your realm until the great awakening, the great remembrance, and the great leveling occurs. We are here to facilitate a smooth transition, for you are dearly loved. You are the beloved God's heart. Do you still doubt your importance? You, warriors of light, have been sent on this mission. We are in charge of our ultimate safety and liberation in the new realm. No harm, no fear. The time is at hand. Your battle gear is your faith and your tenacity. The light has won. We are now coupling to this reality. The grid is stable. The light is harnessed. Love is ever flowing. The darkness has been defeated. You will see the echoes of the game all around you. Don't give away your energy. Do not feed the dying beast. Its time is up, and its energy is being removed. A new humankind joins its galactic family by direct nows. When you look at the enormous changes happening on the planet and in society, it's understandable that you resist everything and want to lock yourself back into the 3D shell. But this is not the time to play small. We must continue to shed the old layers. Little by little, your 5D wings take shape and you discover that you can navigate and create in the world from a completely different expanded possibility. You are joining your galactic family. There is no escape, for the old reality you are used to no longer exists. The fabric of everything is collapsing as the planet is terraformed into 5D. It's confusing because the old ways of doing things still seem to work. The old logic gets you there, except that the tide is running out, and it doesn't matter how you cling on the shifting sands. Humankind manifested controlling intervention because of their unconsciousness. Your souls, who unwittingly surrendered their sovereignty to an external power. Thus, early humankind became disconnected from the divine flow and lost confidence in the infinite benevolence of life. Therefore, the old 3D construction seemed to make sense. Oil war. The oil crisis changes the economy. The oil crisis is driving the replacement of the petrol as the international currency. In addition to the difficulty of supply due to the sanctions imposed on Russia, oil importing countries face difficulties due to the variation in the price of oil, which has generated consequences that are beginning to displace the international currency. The European Union is highly dependent on oil imports, which represents a persistent economic challenge in the event of price volatility. A strong dollar is a headwind for oil-consuming countries, whose currencies are not pegged to the dollar. With the global economic slowdown, fuel-importing nations may find a stimulus for greater use of their local currencies. China, which is the world's largest buyer of oil, has sought to expand its domestic currency in international trade. This is, in addition to Russia, also encouraging trade in different local currencies. Other nations, such as India, are also contemplating the idea of replacing the currency of trade with their local currencies in bilateral trade agreements. Saudi Arabia doubled its oil supply to the European Union last September to 950,000 barrels per day, compared to the same period last year. Earlier this month, OPEC Plus decided to cut its oil production. The euro falls sharply as the ECB pledges to keep printing money until 2024. Another Fed rate hike is expected next week, and life gets tough for Powell. The Fed is expected to hike to 5%, triggering a global recession. World Bank says G7 cap on Russian oil wouldn't work. A cap on Russia's oil price proposed by the G7 countries is an untested mechanism and would need the participation of emerging market and developing economies to achieve its purpose, the World Bank said. The head of the International Energy Agency believes the world still needs Russian oil to keep flowing into the market to meet fuel demand. The US is about to run out of diesel fuel, according to Fox News host Tucker Carlson. Russia says its assets are still of interest to foreign investors despite sanctions. More than 70 vessels were detained during implementation of the Ukrainian part of the food agreement due to systematic violations and attempts to smuggle shipments, the Russian Foreign Ministry said. corporations. Wall Street tech companies lose millions of their value due to low sales. Twitter will delist from the New York Stock Exchange on 8th November after Musk completes his patches. Elon Musk fires all Twitter executives who censored Donald Trump and withheld information from the Hunter's laptop. A golden parachutes for 3 fired Twitter executives worth $122 million. Elon Musk plans to remove bans for Twitter users. He believes Twitter should become a fair forum for people with a wide range of beliefs. Americas. AMLO sees possible negotiations between Russia, China and the US. He notes that there has been a change in the discourse of both Russia and the US, which could lead to a possible agreement. The money kept by Argentines in the US will no longer be a secret. Argentina's Minister of Economy, Sergio Massa, met with US parliamentarians to finalize the tax information exchange agreement that will allow Argentina to obtain data on the bank accounts of its citizens in the US and broaden the tax base to collect taxes by $100 billion. Spain and Chile will accompany the ELN peace process with the Colombian state. In Arauca, on the border with Venezuela, violence has not ceased, denounces a Colombian social leader. 97% of Venezuelans applying to immigrate to the US are rejected. Of the more than 8,000 requests for humanitarian visas granted by the US government to Venezuelan citizens, only some 200 applications have been approved since the implementation of the Immigration Control Plan on 12 October. Curious, Vietnam's rat farms prove that the free market works. Geomagnetic storm watch. Meteorologists say there is a possibility of G1 class geomagnetic storms on October 29th, when a solar wind stream is expected to hit the Earth's magnetic field. The gaseous material flows from a hole in the sun's atmosphere. Sky watchers on high latitudes should keep an eye out for auroras this weekend. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.